business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everyone!
Welcome to episode 72 of Not a Real Job, our Christmas observance show where we go through the history of Christmas, the different ways it is observed around the world, and the birth and subsequent death of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I am Joel Kelly, and I observe Christmas in a non-traditional, non-religious way up in Nova Scotia.
And I am Chris Van Patten, and I observe it in the most traditional and most religious way, despite me being neither of those things.
Interesting. Why do you do that? Do you think this is going to curry some sort of favor with the Lord?
No, I do it purely out of, I don't know, it's like playing dress up or something like that.
Aww.
You know, it's not
like when
real,
we all used
but
to dress up in our mother's clothes when we were kids.
That's not quite what I was going for, but
okay.
All right. I just like Christmas a lot. So much fun.
What, speaking of Christmas and therefore boozing, what do you drink?
Well, it is 10 a.m. here in the States, so I am drinking tea.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, it's 11 a.m. here in Eastern Canada, so I am drinking bourbon and soda.
Excellent. Nice. If it makes you feel better, I spent a lot of money on booze yesterday, so...
So you just spent the money? Did you consume any of it?
No, it's coming home with me for the holidays.
Oh. Home for the holidays.
Home for the holidays.
They should make a movie about that sort of thing. So... I guess I don't want to miss out on opportunities to, have a lot of Christmas related sound effects. So
Ho, ho, ho!
So Steve, I guess, anything you want to put in here that will really annoy Chris, that would be great.
Happy holidays.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I am all in on the Christmas sound effects.
Finally.
Happy holidays.
When it comes to Christmas, you can't do too much celebration. It's just not possible. I mean, I'm seriously considering putting some snow on the Not a Real Job website because I think that'd be awesome.
Like, some Flash-based animation.
Yeah, and if you remember from the MySpace days where you could do custom cursors.
I do remember that.
Thinking like maybe a Rudolph custom cursor because he points the way.
That would be pretty cute.
With like a little blinky animated GIF nose.
Yeah, totally.
I think that could be pretty great.
I think we should probably do this. So everyone go to the website right now and take that all in because Chris has definitely done it and not just talked about it.
It's a trap. We just want you to go to the website.
We just need the page views. We make money based on page views. That's why we break up all our posts into several different slides.
Yes. Yeah. Our 10-part series on the 10 ways to Christmify your website.
Yeah. And
that's a thing.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we should actually do that. That might be our ticket to profitability here.
Yeah, because we need something.
Do you think there's any amount of money like that a sponsor could come on board with that would turn this ship around?
$50 a week.
$50 a week. Yeah.
$200 a month.
Okay, but that'll cover costs. But how long will it take? Take before we actually turn a profit.
Oh, before we turn a profit? Oh, at this point, it would probably take half a century.
Yeah, exactly. Like we want to stem the bleeding, of course, but I'd like to really recoup some of my investment.
Sure.
The ROI on this podcast has been abysmal so far.
It's been a negative number.
Definitely, yeah.
Deeply negative.
Yeah, we would start to save a lot of money if we just stopped right now.
But we have people who need us.
So welcome to the final episode of Not a Real Job, everyone.
Oh, no.
It's a Christmas miracle.
I'm in this for the long haul. Because I've got nothing better to do on Sundays. So
I guess we should probably start going to church.
Yeah, we could certainly pray for sponsors.
Yeah.
I imagine that would work really well.
I think so. Maybe there are people within the church that we could make friends with that could be patrons.
Well, we should have a Not a Real Job tithe.
Oh, wait. Didn't we try that? Wasn't that the first 20 episodes of the show?
I don't recall. I plead the fifth.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I think we've covered off Christmas. We're both pretty amped up about it. I like to purchase and receive material goods, so that's why I'm pretty psyched about it. And Chris is deeply, deeply religious.
Incredibly. You have no idea the depth of my commitment to our Lord. I'm so sorry to everyone we're offending right now.
Oh, we haven't said anything bad. I don't think so.
I think your perspective is a little skewed, Joel.
Oh, what? Canadian?
Yeah. Standards are different down here.
Yeah, we don't have God up
world.
here. Like the cold countries don't really believe that much.
You believe more in like the Krampus, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Krampus, the Yeti.
The Scandinavian sort of Christmas ghouls and things.
Yeah, exactly. A place this cold has obviously been forsaken by any sort of supernatural power.
Now, Joel, does the sun ever set during the winter in Halifax?
Actually, it's always set. It never rises.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Got
have
it.
the opposite problem that above the Arctic Circle has. Yeah, no, it's just there's no sun. It's gone.
Ever.
It's eternal night. Have you seen that vampire movie? Was it like 30 Days of Night or something?
Probably not. No.
I think Josh Hartnett was in it. It wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's what it's like here. It's basically constant vampire attacks.
Wow. I mean, I do have to say that while I was in Halifax, it was not completely dark, but I also did not see the sun my whole trip there.
Absolutely.
Very cloudy. So I'm guessing that was maybe the start of the season and it got progressively darker.
You are correct. Phase 1, you just can't like specifically locate where the light is coming from. And phase 2 is that light simply goes out.
The light dies.
The light dies, as do our spirits. We huddle inside for warmth and we drink a lot of bourbon and we curse the heavens.
That does sound a lot like your life.
Yeah.
From what I know.
From what you know, that's fairly accurate. I guess the big surprise is that I am not at all unique in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the whole city.
It's just how I was raised.
That happens.
Yep. So you have, speaking of material goods, can we get a little update on you from some of the material goods that you have lost over the weeks and months?
Yes. So almost exactly a month ago now, listeners may recall, and if you don't recall, then wow, you suck.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, it needed to be said. So I lost my iPhone a couple weeks ago in a taxi. However, I'm happy to report that the iPhone has been found.
Okay.
And it is in Bangladesh.
Whoa! What? I thought you were going to say it has been found like in my bedroom. It was never lost.
No.
Holy crap.
The phone has made its way to the country of Bangladesh.
That's fantastic.
It's pretty great, isn't it? So yeah, I woke up Saturday and there was a text message to my phone through my Google Voice account, which I had put on as the lost number on the iPhone lost mode. Then I started to get calls and finally picked up one of them. And it turns out that, as the story was told to me, some young Bangladeshi student purchased the phone, found my name as the lost contact on it, and called me to demand a little bit, that I give him my password so he could unlock and activate the phone.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I don't want to go making accusations here because it's still difficult to understand fully what happened.
Right.
But one, I want the phone back.
Sure.
I bought it used on eBay, so I didn't pay the complete full price, but I did pay quite a bit more than I might have paid on contract or something like that. So I would like it back. And so I asked this person, how much money did you spend on the phone? And they gave me a number in US dollars. Well, first in Bangladeshi taka, which is their currency, and then in US dollars of what the equivalent would have been.
Uh-huh.
And I punched the numbers into Google and said, actually, no, it's not that much money. He said he paid around 5,000 taka, which is roughly $65, and told me that 5,000 was actually equivalent to 180 US dollars.
Uh-huh.
So immediately I'm very skeptical.
Uh-huh.
Fortunately, sort of. I mean, I'm probably never going to see the phone again.
Definitely not, no.
But I have my primary virtual assistant right now is in Bangladesh.
Oh.
So I sort of immediately hopped into HipChat. I was like, can you get online? I'm in a situation and I need some advice. You're like, yeah, don't give this guy anything. And we sort of worked out a plan to hopefully get the phone back. But I'm not crossing my fingers. I'm not holding my breath or anything. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know what happens if I ever see it again, or more likely not.
Well, I don't want to spoil the end of this story, but how do you possibly have a plan for retrieving this phone?
So the plan is that I would PayPal this person who has the phone about $10, which is enough to cover shipping of the phone to my virtual assistant's location in Bangladesh. Okay. Once the phone would arrive to him, he would check it, make sure it's undamaged. And from that point, assuming that the phone gets to him, I will have my assistant forward it on to me here in the States, and then pay this person a small reward for recovering the phone. I don't anticipate that this person is going to take me up on that offer.
No, I can't imagine.
But at this point, I did make a pretty generous offer, I would say, considering what he actually paid for the phone. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not too hopeful, but it just kind of cracked me up that it happened.
Yeah. This is definitely not how I imagine the story going now. But I think the obvious question, and we'd be remiss not to address it, is that was this phone stolen in the first place? You bought a stolen phone, right?
No.
How do you know that?
Because it didn't have Find My iPhone activated on it. I mean, certainly it could have been stolen from somebody who did not have Find My iPhone on. But given the person's eBay reputation...
You don't think that was the case?
I don't think that was the case, no.
Well.
Yeah. What tangled globalist webs we...
This is incredible. Now, are you at all worried for the safety of your virtual assistant who is going to give out his address to a person who seems very upset?
This was partly his idea.
Oh, well then you're absolved of any responsibility.
Yeah, and actually I just got an email update from my assistant, and he has offered to contact this person directly. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how far I want to get into this, but I am sort of curious to see what happens. And I'll certainly update you all as the process continues.
Well, I'm extremely excited.
It's sort of like, it's like the movie Taken.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, your virtual Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Your hacker Liam Neeson.
My Elance Liam Neeson.
Yeah, you have a particular set of skills that involve email.
Email administrative tasks, calendars.
Yeah. You know what? Google Apps in general.
Yeah, I'm a certified Google Apps expert, something like that.
Perfect. All right. Wow.
A particular set of Google Apps skills.
Exactly. Good Neeson impression.
Thanks. I do impressions now.
And you know what? You nailed it. You nailed it.
Got it in one.
Okay, you've got another note in this document here that I don't understand.
Yeah, okay. So this is something, last night I was in for the night, and I went back to the show last week just to kind of listen and plot out this week's plan.
Wow.
I know, crazy, right? But I realized that last week we talked a bit about contractors and dealing with clients and things like that. And I think I may have been a little bit overzealous, I guess, in my recommendations, particularly around the whether or not you're a contractor and the legal requirements that make you one or not. And I just wanted to have a little caveat added here this week to say, like, I think what we said is largely good, but there are also definitely many circumstances where clients can dictate terms of communication and it can still not be a employer-employee relationship. And I guess what I just want to say is don't listen to us for any legal advice because we don't really know what we're doing. We're just making it up as we go. So if you have a question about that, contact somebody who actually knows what they're talking about.
Did anyone contact us and say that we were wrong?
No one did. This is just
then
me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
This is revisionist history for me.
Yeah, and I think that may be where you're making a big mistake here, is assuming that that we need to correct ourselves. That's what we have listeners for. People need to send in follow-up.
That's true. We need more follow-up.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think we need to start making bigger, bolder claims until someone decides to correct us.
Do you have any examples of a claim that you would like to make?
Sure. When I said that the rules were similar in Canada, what I actually meant was there are no rules in Canada. Yep, we're all about the free market up here, the invisible hand.
Rules, just right.
What was that?
That was the slogan for the Outback Steakhouse family of restaurants.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost the connection for a second there. I hope you didn't make a really good goof.
I did. But that's okay. You can just laugh, pretend. Perfect. We'll have Steve edit around that. So
you're like Christopher Van Wilder, Patton.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yes, you did. All right, Steve, make that all sound like I knew what was going on.
Which would be, to be honest, that would be a first.
You'd have to start at the beginning of all the shows.
Episode 1.
They were remastering these podcasts to make it sound like I know anything.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Well, shall we question?
Let's question. Do you mind?
Oh,
shall I?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Just give me a sec.
Sure.
This question comes from Can we do it like the Flophouse where we're Trent last name withheld, or do we have to come up with our own thing?
I'm gonna let you decide.
Let's just call him. You know what? For funsies, we'll call him Trent.
Okay.
Yep.
I like it.
Trent asks, I've heard you guys talk about outsourcing and virtual assistants before. I was just wondering if you'd consider virtual help when scaling up a small business. Instead of using a product like Fancy Hands, for instance, using something like Worldwide 101, which is more expensive but offers assistants who can perform more duties. It's kind of like the lean methodology for hiring, using VA staff to test growth potential before hiring full-time employees. Thoughts?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. My answer is also yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we did it.
Easy. Perfect. Huh. Well, it's been our show, folks. It's
the last episode. We started on Christmas Day and we ended on Christmas Day.
Yes. No,
okay. Look, Chris, just back off for a second. I'm going to answer this question.
Okay.
Thank you. My advice is yes. Do the thing that you're wondering about. Of course. And yeah, find something more permanent help other than Fancy Hands. I think Van Wilder here can make some recommendations around Elance or things like that. So I don't specifically know about Worldwide 101, but I think absolutely. I mean, we live in an age now where we can get help for our projects and businesses from all over the world. People with specific expertise, and we don't have to limit ourselves to kind of just the people we know or who live in the same city as we do when we're trying to start businesses or start new projects. So absolutely. I feel like that's kind of a letdown of an answer, but I think you already know the answer to your question, which is, yeah, definitely do that thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, my suspicion or my belief is that Fancy Hands is really it's a great service, awesome service.
Yeah,
everyone should try it out. But I think it's most useful as a truly personal assistant. So somebody who can set up doctor's appointments for you, and this, that, and the other thing that are things that are important personally.
Yeah.
Right. So ordering flowers for somebody, blah, blah, blah. But they're less useful for a business situation, because in a business situation, I think it's much more important or certainly much more valuable to have somebody who is working with you regularly. Somebody who can sort of understand what your business is about, understand your needs, and have a more specific approach to the task that they do because they understand what you need. You can certainly get those benefits from somebody who's solely a personal assistant as well. If you were to hire somebody on a more full-time basis or even a part-time basis. But I think the value is really much more evident if you're in a business assistant situation. So I don't know Worldwide 101, which I'm guessing you might be affiliated with somehow. I don't know. But definitely, I'm a big fan of Elance Odesk for finding assistants. I've had really good luck there. I know there's a service called Virtual Staff Finder from a guy named Chris Ducker, who is really cool. And it's basically you pay them to do the headhunting for you and find an assistant in the Philippines. And then you do the final interview and pick somebody. And that's been very highly recommended by everyone I know who's used it. Yeah, I mean, there are dozens, if not hundreds of ways to hire virtual assistants on a more part-time or full-time basis. And yeah, I would say it's absolutely worth the expense. If you've got work that can be done by somebody else, that can let you focus more on growing your business or scaling up, then yes, definitely go this route.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, do you have any suggestions or guidance around using virtual assistants who are in other countries? Like, you've mentioned Bangladesh, you mentioned the Philippines. Like, is there anything that a person should know when looking for an assistant who's not necessarily like, an American just down the street from them?
I think you have to have a really good understanding of the tasks that you need somebody to do, because if you're going to need somebody who has, and this can even go down to the hiring basis, right? So like if you need somebody who can be very good on the phone, who, you're going to have making or receiving phone calls for you, you're probably going to want to choose somebody from a country that has good spoken English. So that might be the Philippines. It might be the US or Canada. It might be the UK. Having a really good understanding of the tasks that you need done, it can actually have a big impact on where you hire. So if you're looking for programming help, you might want to try Vietnam. You might want to try Eastern Europe, because those are both places that have really good developers. You might want to try Eastern Europe for designers. There are a lot of really great designers there. So sort of, go when you're first starting out and you want to hire, make a list of all the things that you need done. And having that understanding is going to help you hire better. If that makes sense. That makes
a lot of sense. It's really interesting. Yeah, so hopefully, Trent, that answers your question. I mean, as you can tell, we're kind of, I don't think we gave any surprising answers there. We're both big fans of the virtual assistant system. I still use Fancy Hands, but my requests are kind of one-off. Not something that I need someone who has a big understanding of what I do. Like I still use it mostly for, proofreading documents or making doctor's appointments, stuff that really anyone can do if they have the time and the ability.
Yeah, like I don't think you would go to Fancy Hands and ask them to, make you a market research report or something like that. Maybe they could, maybe they would, but I think you're going to I think your money is going to be much more well spent by finding somebody who specializes in that. And that's the other thing I think about hiring virtual assistants. And I know we've talked about this on the show before, or at least I think we have. Don't be afraid to hire more people for fewer tasks per person. Mm-hmm. So rather than trying to find the super VA who can do everything for you, who can make graphics for your blog posts and format blog posts and write emails and schedule things, find people to do more specific tasks. So maybe you have a VA who focuses solely on graphics, making social media graphics, making pictures or editing pictures for blog posts. And maybe you have somebody who focuses just on your WordPress site, keeping it up to date, formatting blog posts for you, installing plugins, things like that. And then maybe you get somebody else who's going to help manage your email and your calendar and things like that, right? You don't need to have one person who does everything. And then the other thing I would say to that is that if you are doing that, breaking down your tasks, there are actually a lot of services out there, productivized services that you pay a monthly fee for, and they will do certain tasks for you. So WP Curve, which we'll link to in the show notes, is a really awesome service where you pay $70 a month and they will basically maintain your WordPress site for you. If you need like a CSS change to the design of your website, they'll do that. They'll make sure your plugins are up to date. They'll make sure you have backups being made. And they'll do, those unlimited tasks 24/7 from $69 US a month, which is awesome. I believe there's a service called Graphic Task. I might have that wrong, but I'll find what it is and put it in the show notes. And that's very similar. You pay a monthly fee and you can email them anytime you need something made, whether that's an image for social media or a photo edited for your blog post, they'll handle it. So if you have a really good sense of what those things that you need are, you can find even better deals through some of these unlimited monthly services. And we'll link all those up in the show notes, which you'll be able to find at notarealjob.com/episode-72.
Well, that is delightful.
There you go.
Cool. Well, we might have to go ahead and wrap this up because, as my last note in the show notes goes, my final draft of my book is due to my publisher today. So I should probably, very exciting, but I should probably go finish that.
And where can people find that book if they want in?
We'll have the link in the show notes, but if you just go to joelkelly.ca, there are links all over that internet website for where you can get more information. I'll be probably putting up a new blog post about that today, so that means it will be up well before this episode goes live. So if you just go to joelkelly.ca, you can find out all the details there.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. Cool. So now for my favorite part of the show, because we are both commercial capitalist pigs. Yep. The part where we talk about buying things. Mm-hmm. So this is the part of the show where we give you recommendations for products that you can buy on Amazon.com, the wonderful online superstore. And if you buy through the links in the show notes or at notarealjob.com/gear, we get a small cut and it helps us make the show. So what do you have for us this week, Joel?
I'm just quickly checking to make sure I haven't recommended this before. It doesn't look like it. So I recently wrote a blog post about how to stay productive and efficient in a growing team. We briefly talked about a few parts of this sort of thing a couple episodes ago. So after that, I went ahead and wrote a blog post, kind of putting things together. How we're using Slack, how we're using 15.5 to stay productive even as our team grows. And one of the points that I make in that is about the communication demands within a team don't grow linearly. Each new person you add doesn't add a static amount of, say, email or communication to the pile. In fact, a group's complexity grows faster than its size. So I included a neat chart and some more information from Here Comes Everybody by Clay Shirky, which I think is it is the seminal book about organizing without organizations, as the subtitle goes. So how the internet and how groups of people kind of having unfettered access to each other is changing the world. And it has a lot of great stuff around, the complexity that comes into having a lot of people connected to each other. And there's some good points in there that help you have a good perspective around, say, your own internal team and what happens when people have unfettered communications access to each other and just how complex that can get. So again, if you go to joelkelly.ca, we'll have the link to this in the show notes as well. You can read about that blog post, and you can read more about Here Comes Everybody by Clay Shirky.
Cool. And that actually reminds me, I'd love to do another book club episode in January. So maybe we should figure out a book off mic for that we can both read over the Christmas break and discuss on the show.
Sounds delightful.
Cool. So my product this week that I'm going to recommend is the Marpac Dome. That's Dome spelled DOHM. And it is a white noise machine for sleeping. And it's got a little fan inside. It's got 2 speeds. And then it's got this rotating dome on the top that you can use to modify the tone of the white noise, making it higher or lower pitched. And excuse me. And I love this thing. I've only had it for about a week now, but it definitely helps me sleep better. Combined with the sleep mask that I recommended on a past episode, which you can find at notarealjob.com/gear. I've been in sleep heaven lately. And so I highly recommend both of those. And yeah, check it out. It's awesome.
I've got, a guy I work with has been going on about his life changing once he got white noise machine. I'm very interested in the idea behind it. I sleep with a podcast, which is effectively a white noise machine. So I find this very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the science behind it works, if there even is any science, but for a long time I slept with a fan on, and I think it just kind of maybe got to almost a Pavlovian type thing. So when my fan broke, or when now in New York, it got too cold for a fan anyway. Right. This is a really great alternative to get the same sound without blowing cold air around the bedroom.
Got it. Makes sense. Well,
there you go.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Happy Xmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Candle Nights. That's a Mim reference, not an offensive way to refer to Hanukkah.
Where can you find us on the interwebs?
I guess Google, if you have to. Just Google Joel Kelly and Crispin Patton, and hopefully something comes up. Or you could go direct to the source at notarealjob.com, twitter.com/nargecast, facebook.com/notarealjob, twitter.com/Joel Kelly, twitter.com/Crispin Patton, and notarealjob.com/gear to see all of our amazing recommendations for products you should consume. Because materialism is what makes our country free.
Indeed. Now, a quick note on iTunes reviews. Thank you to everyone who has reviewed the show in the past. I think we've gotten 16 ratings across a few countries. But something that I do want to point out is that iTunes reviews, I believe, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that after a certain amount of time, the review disappears from iTunes. I think it's about a year the review will sort of go away because it's not a recent review. So if you've reviewed the show in the past and you check out the iTunes page at notarealjob.com/iTunes, that'll open up iTunes on your computer. If your review's not there, leave another one. If you never left a review in the first place, leave one because we do really appreciate those reviews. It does help people find the show because it pushes us up the rankings. And it motivates us to do better, to do more. So really, go check that out. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season in whatever way you observe, not just the strictly traditional way that we recommend.
Indeed.
So, have a great week. Have great holidays. Love your families, love your friends, and bye. And
one more episode in 2014, and then
consume material goods. And as Chris said, one more episode until we're done for good. So for Evs.
Mayan apocalypse.
I think we missed that one.
Darn. Oh well.
Yeah. There'll be some other apocalypse.
Apocalypto.
All right.
Let's end the show.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.